We are making buttermilk biscuits today using all-purpose flour, and I am going to start the process off with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and to that I want to add a tablespoon of baking powder and also a teaspoon of salt. And once you add those dry ingredients together, we're also going to add a tablespoon of sugar, which is optional. Give your dry ingredients a good mix, and now we're going to move on to the butter. I have 1 stick of cold salted butter here that I'm going to cut up into cubes and just add to my flour. And then once I get all of it in there, I want to dust it with the flour and coat the butter with the flour. And then I'm going to use my pastry cutter to start to break it up in there. I move on from that to my hands, squeezing this butter and breaking it up into pieces. I want to keep some big pieces and I want some small pieces. I want a mixture of both, which is why I'm using my hands. And now, once we get our flour together, I'm going to add to that 1 cup of cold buttermilk. And I do it in 2 additions just so I can thoroughly make sure all of the flour is coated with the buttermilk. So I'll give it a mix, and as I grab some of that flour from the bottom of the bowl, then I'll add the rest just to get all of the flour coated with this buttermilk. So at this point, the dough is pretty shaggy looking, but that's okay. We're going to turn it out onto our floured surface, and then we're going to press this dough together, and that is how we're going to get it to come together. So you just got to trust the process. I also like to press it out and fold it a time or two just to kind of create those layers that everybody loves. But I didn't really do a whole lot of folding this go round, just because I just want to really show you what the dough should look like. And here you can see it comes together. I used my bench scraper to measure about how thick it was. And according to the measurements on my bench scraper, it's about a 1/2 inch thick, if that helps. But I am using one of my larger biscuit cutters, so you don't have to make them this big. I just didn't want a whole lot of them, so I'm using my larger biscuit cutter, and I got about 7 large biscuits out of it. I also got a 1/2 a biscuit left. So I personally don't throw away my biscuit dough, even if it doesn't make a full biscuit. I'll just make a little small biscuit because we just gonna eat it anyway, so it don't have to be pretty. So you see me just rolling the rest of the dough. I also like to brush my biscuits with a little bit of buttermilk just to help them brown evenly in the oven, but you don't have to do this if you don't want. So now I just want to tell you, if you don't have buttermilk to make these biscuits, you can use regular milk. Just add a teaspoon of baking soda in with the rest of the dry ingredients if you're going to use regular milk as opposed to buttermilk. So these biscuits baked in a 425-degree preheated oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, and you can see how nice and golden brown they are. A pro tip for that is if you're not getting your biscuits brown like this, move them up a rack. So if you normally bake them in the middle of the rack, move them up one because heat rises. So here they are, perfectly golden brown and made without using self-rising flour. Please give this recipe a try. It's very easy, very quick. It really only took me about 10 minutes to do this. Would have went faster if I wasn't filming. Enjoy and happy baking.